want to talk to you today about love. Now, I'm not talking about where you find the partner of your life, although that can be part of it. I'm talking about the kind of love that permeates everything. The reason that you're being here on earth. Let me go back a bit here. As a spiritual being, I chose a quest before I was born, and that quest was to learn about all avenues of love. Now, that can be love of people, love of animals, love of plants, uh, all kinds of things like loving a partner, loving your parents, loving children, loving people that I barely know, but I learn to appreciate. Um, there's all kinds of things that are based on love. And initially, as a person who grew up in a world where women were expected to marry, um, I assumed that that's what I would be doing. I would be finding a partner and I would be with that person, hopefully for the rest of my life, but that was the goal. And as it turned out, I did find the love of my life early. But strangely enough, um, because of the circumstances, I let that person go because I found out his parents had made a plan for him for his next couple of years of life, kind of thing, in order to get him educated and one thing and another. And I didn't want to stand in the way of that for him. Um, and there were other complications as well, but that was what was behind it. Um, and I genuinely loved this person. And it was devastating when I had to let him go. But I decided that I could handle whatever was happening on my own. And I wanted to do that for him. Now, there were other things that were personal that I'm not going to go into here, but when you love somebody with that intensity and you're able to let them go, you learn the capacity of the heart. Um, and it was, as it turns out, that was one of the many things I had to learn about love, is loving something enough to let it go. Um, and I found as time went on, there were other partners in my life that allowed me to pursue love of a different type. It was friendship. Uh, there was loving animals. There was uh, loving a business that I was able to start, and uh, a love of herbs. I mean, I learned all about herbs and growing plants, and I've always had a garden, so I knew about that because my grandfather was a gardener. Um, so when I looked back, I realized that was the quest I was on, because you're, as a spiritual being, your memory is wiped when you're growing up. You do not know this is what you decided you wanted to learn about, because it allows you the greatest scope to find out. Um, and you do so by relying on yourself and your instincts and your gifts, your talents. And in my case, it took me a while because I had very low self-esteem. Um, my family didn't make me feel like, um, well, that what I was doing or what I wanted to do was respected or accepted. And so it took me a while to kind of get, all that figured out. And so I didn't really delve into many other things until I was grown up. And then I wanted to find out about other things. For example, I was brought up with a religion, nothing wrong with it, just a normal church and so forth and beliefs. But as an adult, I realized there were things that I wanted answers to that particular faith did not answer. And in fact, religion in general didn't answer it because I looked into many different faiths. Um, and then I realized that there was a reason for me feeling that way, that I was trying to find something else. I didn't know quite what it was, but I started to look and I found spiritual understanding. I found different people who led me to further delve into those things. And I happened to live in an era where people were open to finding out. My mother's generation was not, but the one I lived in was. And of course, it turns out my generation was were rebels. But we didn't want to do things quite the same way that our parents did. A lot of us, anyway. And that allowed us to find all kinds of things: love of music, love of expression, being creative, and that sort of thing. Like it was quite something. And this, of course, was happening while the world was going crazy because we were in a Cold War, and that meant the threat of nuclear war was over us for most of my life. So we had this attachment to living life to the fullest, because we felt they could be taken away at any time. And of course, our parents had lived through the Second World War. So we knew all about that. We knew about loss, and we knew about how dear things really are, and not to take them for granted. So the parents that I chose, um, the situation, the era I grew up in that I chose, the partners that I chose, all of that led to this incredible story of finding all kinds of love. And I'm very, very grateful for the experience. It not only satisfied my quest to find all those things, it made me have a much deeper understanding about how important love is to us. I mean, if you're not loving something, your life is empty, um, because you're lost. When you find different things to love, it can be small things. It can be the fact that you've discovered something that you didn't know before. Knowledge, love of knowledge, love of technology. People really love that these days. But there's all kinds of things to love. It doesn't mean just one thing or one person. It means many aspects of it. So we're blessed to be in this particular um, century, where things are evolving quickly and there's always something new to learn. But one thing we have to remember, and that is no matter what century you're living in, if you're not loving all of the things around you, and I mean people and living things, um, real things, then you're not participating in the gift that you were given. And the beauty in that is so incredible. It's really hard to explain it to somebody. But that's what I learned about love. I learned that it's all around you, it's in just about everything. Um, the vibration of everything around you, whether it's a plant or the air molecules or that you breathe, the people that you're talking to, the animals around you, um, the flowers, the herbs, the knowledge that helps you to understand it all. It's amazing. Put it simply, it's amazing. So, my quest, which was about finding love, I thought was a partner. So, when I find myself alone now, I don't feel lonely in the sense of that, like I've missed something, or, I don't want to be pitied or anything like that because I don't feel lonely. I feel fulfilled. I have had the greatest time figuring out who I am. And yes, it took me a while because I didn't have the greatest self esteem. But once I got beyond that, people started appearing in my life to help me with all the things, the gifts I was given. For example, with writing. uh, I wanted to learn more, and so I was living in a smaller town, and I remember going to the editor and asking if I could write stories for the paper and whatnot, and he allowed me to try it out and all that, and I did really well. With his encouragement and with his guidance, because English isn't the easiest thing to to play around with. But it was the storytelling that I was fascinated with, because life is a story, right? And the irony for me is that my entire life is a story. it's it's a novel. Uh, but everything had a reason, and that gives me so much satisfaction. Because there were so many things as I went along that I didn't understand, or that seemed to be painful and so forth. But the understanding came, and the exposure to find it. The resources, the people that helped me out with it. I'm very grateful, and I want to encourage you to open your mind to find the love in your life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. Um, just keep your mind open. That love is all around you, and you're never going to be alone in the truest sense. You will always be able to find the answers you need. And if you have a positive mindset and you know exactly what it is that you want, that will come to you, because it's a form of vibration that aligns with what you're thinking and talking about. Um, and once you learn that, once you figure all that out, you can't help but smile, because it's one of the happiest things to learn that you're part of this major plan. you Things that you're doing have a reason, and as a story that you have no connection to initially, but when you stand back years later and you look at it, you go, "Holy smoke, I didn't know that." So I want you to realize that there's a reason for everything, that you are loved, and that your life matters. So I want you to go and reach out and help others to let them know that their life matters, and to show everything around you kindness and appreciation. Um, so many people don't have that awareness, and they are not in a situation that is positive. It doesn't mean that they aren't positive, though. It's amazing when you really look out there that people are all the same, in that sense that they're looking for love. They're looking for something that gives them a reason to believe they are there for a purpose, and they are. It may differ for every one of us, the actual purpose, um, but the spiritual purpose is is what should be driving you. Um, so I want to let you know about that. I want you to know that you are loved, you are appreciated. It took me years to find that out. And just so you know, I love you too. So you take care of yourself and see if you can't look into some of the things I'm saying to figure it out for yourself. I'm here to try and help because we have to help each other. It's part of the loving thing that we're in. So I want you to take care, and I'll come and see you again next time. And I want to appreciate you very much by saying thank you for watching my videos. Please subscribe. Please allow me into your living room so I can talk to you and express what I've learned along the way. I feel very, very grateful, and I want to share. Okay, you take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.